Sonia Guajajara is a Brazilian indigenous activist, environmentalist, and politician. She is the current and first Minister of Indigenous Peoples. Sonia Bonde Souza Silva Santos was born on March 6, 1974, to a Guajajara family in the Araboia indigenous land, home to one of Brazil's largest indigenous peoples with around 19,000 members. Known for her activism, the Guajajara are the forefront of defending the forest through their Guardians of the Forest movement, a group primarily made up of tribal members dedicated to protecting the Amazon from loggers, land grabbers, and drug traffickers. Raised in a family where her parents were illiterate, Sonia left home at just 10 years of age to begin working. By the age of 15, she moved to Minas Gerais at the invitation of Funai, where she completed her education at an agricultural boarding school. Sonia's journey is a testament to resilience and the power of education, and her work today continues to inspire both her community and the global movement of environmental and indigenous rights.
Os indígenas somos os legítimos porta-vozes da Mãe Terra. Nós estamos aqui para dizer que é chegada a hora da retomada. A Mãe Terra convoca.
In the words of Guajajara, I've always considered myself a leader. Back in school, I'd love to lead activities. What brought me directly into the movement was the struggle for land, after listening to the testimonials of indigenous leaders that didn't have a territory. Sonia Guajajara's activism runs deep within her indigenous identity and early experiences with environmental degradation and injustice against her community. Sonia Guajajara was born and raised in the Guajajara tribe in Maranhão, Brazil. She has grown up seeing all the setbacks: poverty, marginalization, and encroachment of ancestral lands by illegal loggers and miners. These injustices fired her determination to defend indigenous rights and take care of the environment, as her main goal was to get more indigenous in the field of politics and decision-making, which was extremely limited to them. To achieve this, she went for education, which provided opportunities for Great Barriers while studying at the Federal University of Maranhão, opening her eyes more to understand the social and political issues surrounding indigenous territories and their interactions with the rest of Brazil. Education gave her the strength to assume leadership roles in organizations such as the Articulation of Indigenous Peoples of Brazil, APIB, where she coordinated organizing campaigns and represented indigenous interests at national and international levels. She refers to this activism rooted in dedication to ecological and social justice, prioritizing indigenous cultures as key to the formulation of response strategies for global phenomena such as climate change.
Lado, estamos nós, povos indígenas, quilombolas, mulheres, comunidades locais. Do outro lado, estão as máquinas.
Sonia Guajajara, through her work, has highlighted the need for a collective effort to tackle the environmental issues concerning the Amazon rainforest. She argues further that it is the government that serves as the biggest current threat to the forest's health, stating that a change in leadership is necessary, as well as a change in governance as a whole to what she calls a true democracy. Under the Bolsonaro regime, promises were made to boost the country's GDP and create more farming jobs. Of course, this offer sounded amazing to many Brazilians, but it was not without cost. For more farms, land was in short supply, thus the only cost-effective option was to clear out the Amazon rainforest to make room, and clear out the rainforest they did. This displaced at least hundreds of thousands of animals a year, cutting biodiversity and a massive global carbon sink by up to 18% of its original volume in the present day, with 2022 being a record year for deforestation under the Bolsonaro government. Beyond non-human animals who had their homes destroyed, a sizable population of various indigenous groups reside within the rainforest, and they aren't exactly willing to give their homes up.
Sonia Guajajara has been fighting against the forces trying to displace her community's deep-rooted culture and heritage from their territories for over 500 years.
I'm scared sometimes, he says, but we are fighting. 6 weeks later, Paulo Paulino Guajajara is now dead, killed by the people his tribe fights against, illegal loggers.
Paulo Paulino Guajajara dedicated his life to protecting his land from the loggers who attempted to take it over. He ended up losing his life to the cause when he was shot and killed by illegal loggers who ambushed his tribe. These perpetrators will most likely not be brought to justice due to very few cases where indigenous people have been targeted and murdered receive justice.
The guardians of the forest say the only way to protect their land is to do it themselves.
Sonia Guajajara has turned into an unstoppable force regarding the rights of indigenous people, with a strong ecological advocacy, life experiences, and academic successes to create a comprehensive campaign of not only for indigenous territories, but for the Amazon rainforest. When she was just 10 years old, she had to leave her home and fight for an education with her scarce family resources. Utilizing her drive to achieve education, she managed to complete her master's degree in culture and society at Federal University of Bahia. Taking on a larger leadership role, Guajajara founded the APIB in 2005, which articulates the voices of all indigenous people from Brazil into one great national movement in the face of exploitation and marginalization. Guajajara has also made her presence as an activist known in the political field, as she criticized the Brazilian government after the Bolsonaro regime, which smashed environmental protection and let massive deforestation occur. Furthermore, under the leadership of President Lula da Silva, the struggle of Guajajara raised fresh demands for the recovery and land rights of the indigenous people and for the struggle against climate change, thus rebuilding protective measures regarding the rainforest of Brazil.
Nós temos que nos dar as mãos e juntos dizer que a luta pela Mãe Terra é a mãe de todas as lutas.
After Bolsonaro's election, this is one of the most critical issues, battles that we face on planet Earth right now, protecting and defending the Amazon rainforest and indigenous peoples.
She also secured important partnerships for reforestation and indigenous peoples-led conservation, including the Caring Family Foundation. In doing so, Guajajara has said the protection of indigenous territories isn't an environmental task, but rather an urgent strategy towards the cultural heritage of one of the last hotspots of biodiversity.
In the modern day, nearly a fifth of the Amazon is already destroyed, and recent years have been some of the worst for the rainforest's health. However, many groups have recognized the imminent danger and started organizations such as Amazon Conservation, which is a group that seeks to not only protect the wilds, of course, but also empower the locals who will suffer the consequences of inaction firsthand if nothing is done, as those people will be the most motivated and able to make a change. They wholeheartedly believe in the capability of technology to solve this issue if used correctly. Amazon Watch is another organization that is far more concerned, as they claim, due to more recent data points, that the tipping point of the Amazon, the point at which it cannot sustain itself as a biome, is at around 25% deforestation, as opposed to previous estimates of around 40%. They also raise over $1 million per year directed towards the preservation of at least 80% of the forest. They place an imperative on the representation of women and people of color within the organization so that their voices on these matters can be heard. With support and greater awareness being raised, we could protect and even perhaps restore the Amazon. But it will take a lot of time, and the biodiversity that was lost may never truly be recovered. If it happens, though, it will be a large step forward in the salvation of the natural world.